All right, welcome to problem number 4, and we're almost ready to set you off working on some of these problems on your own, but I wanted to talk briefly about one more tool, the line tool, and I just wanted you to think a little bit about efficiency and your problem solving, and the best way to solve problems as you do these. So I've made two of the same sized block just to show you different ways to make this problem. The problem 4 is the tongued block. And if you've ever seen hardwood flooring, you have what's called tongue and groove. So the tongue fits into the groove. And so this is what we're going to be making. There's the tongue. Problem number 5 is actually the negative of this. So it's the groove. And if we put them together, it would fit on each side. So you can kind of imagine this reversed. Um, so it's 1 inch over, 1 inch up, and then 1 inch down, and then 1 inch over again. And you can see that it's just an upside down T. So to do this, we'll start same as we did with our tape measure previously. I'm going to go 1 inch in from each side, or you could do 2 inches in from the second side if you're doing the math in your head. And I could do a rectangle like we did last problem number 3, but I'm going to instead do a line. And of course, line starts with L, so we will draw a line here. And I will draw a second line here. And then we're going to push these down, and we know that it's 1 inch down. So I'm going to say P and down, hit enter, 1, enter, click, move down, hit 1, hit enter. And that is the finished shape. Oh, I did forget to erase my guidelines, so let's do that. Erase, and of course E is eraser. So that's the finished shape. Of course, I didn't add the dimensions lines, which you will do on your project. You can see there's a bunch here. I won't do them for you right now. I want to show you the other way, or another way, that you could make this tongued block. So let's kind of zoom back here. Got the people's feet here and orbit over. It's kind of the nondescript kind of person, the faceless person. And if you try to orbit around, the person's always facing front. So it's a 2D person. It's kind of a little funny. Anyways, so let's take a look. Before we worked from the top, we could also work from an end and push-pull from an end. So you try this and decide which way you think is more efficient. So I'm going to use my tape measure tool. I know that it is down 1 inch. And I know that I have 1 inch over from each side. And now I can use my line tool. I'll use my line tool on this side. Now watch what happens when I click here. You'll see I still have the line tool. Over here, I didn't have the line tool extending because it knew I was completing a rectangle. But here, because I'm in the middle of a surface, the program is anticipating that I'm going to do exactly what I'm going to do, which is this. So now notice that the line disappears. Let's do a rectangle on the other side, just so we remember how to do that. R for rectangle. Notice it's switching which face. So this is blue and this is red. I want to make sure I'm on the red face this time. This will be green if I did it over here. So I click on an intersection, click on the other intersection, and I now have both of my end rectangles. I'll erase my guidelines, and now I can push this down to the end, and push this down to the end. So there's my two methods. You can see they both ended up with the same thing, but sometimes one way is more efficient than another, and I kind of think that working from the top in this instance was more efficient than working from the end, because I had to do a few more sets of lines. I had to do 2 lines here and 1 rectangle, and then I actually had to do 3 guidelines instead of 2 here. So it is possible, it is a way to solve the problem, but you want to think as you're working, what is going to be the most efficient way to solve the problem. Okay, don't take too much time on it. Don't forget to add your dimension lines and save it, and then you'll hand them in. We will see you in our last block, which is block number 5. And in that project, you'll be able basically to do the whole thing from scratch. We'll see you then. Don't forget to save.